Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Julie Smyth. Today's top stories. The Health and Safety Authority is investigating a workplace incident near the Port of Waterford. NPHET says there's still a wide range of options available for exiting lockdown. And in sport, Republic of Ireland boss Stephen Kenny's being investigated by the FAI after showing political video to players. A man has been injured in a workplace incident near the Port of Waterford. The incident happened at an ESB substation at Bellevue around 10 o'clock this morning. The man, an ESB Networks technician, has been transferred to University Hospital Waterford. The Health and Safety Authority has confirmed they will be investigating. ESB Networks say they're liaising with the relevant authorities and their thoughts are with the network technician and his family at this time. The Health Minister is hoping as many people as possible can see their families this Christmas. But a spokesperson for Stephen Donnelly says it's too early to say what restrictions will be in place for the festive season. It comes as health officials are warning the recent progress in reducing the spread of COVID-19 has stalled. The average number of cases over the last 5 days is just under 400 and the average number of close contacts has risen slightly to 3.2. Infectious disease expert Jack Lambert says it's clear compliance has slipped.
People are not abiding by the lockdown. People are still travelling for good reasons, but also for non-essential reasons. And then I think people are not maximising their ability to do all the COVID prevention.
In Waterford, 4 electoral areas, 2 in the city and 2 in the county, now have incidence rates above the national average, while Dungarvan has the lowest incidence of COVID-19. WLR's Sinead Ahern reports.
There were 66 cases in Waterford City South during the 2 weeks ending on Monday. That's up from 51 the week before. The number of cases in Portlaw increased by 2/3 from 16 last week to 27 this week. In Tramore City West, the numbers were up by 1/3 from 28 to 38. There was a big jump in the Lismore area. They had fewer than 5 cases last week. By Monday, it had increased to 14. Dungarvan also had 14 cases, the same as last week. However, because their population is twice the size of Lismore, their incidence rate is only 68. Waterford City East was the only area that saw a reduction in the number of cases, down from 34 last week to 25.
For a full breakdown of those figures, go to WLRFM.com. 12 new consultant posts are to be created at University Hospital Waterford. News of the approval for the posts emerged in a meeting between management at the hospital and Waterford's Oireachtas members this morning. Sinn Féin's health spokesperson David Cullinane said it was a positive step.
My understanding is that these posts will be new whole-time equivalent posts. They are not vacant posts, so they will be additional. They will be across medical, surgical, diagnostic areas, so it will be a huge advance for the hospital if we can get them. There is always a difficulty in recruiting consultants, so it's one thing for approval to come for the funding. It can be a challenge then, as we know, to recruit the consultants, but to get to a point where we now have approved funding for additional new posts is obviously a positive.
The Justice Minister is to bring proposals to Cabinet next week which would make the sharing of sexual images without consent a criminal offence. Helen McEntee will bring amendments to a bill drafted by Labour's Brendan Howlin before senior ministers next Tuesday. In a series of tweets, Minister McEntee says she shares the anger and upset of a leak of tens of thousands of intimate images of Irish women in recent days. A petition to make image-based sexual abuse illegal has reached almost 50,000 signatures. There are calls for Waterford Council to look again at extending the city boundary northwards into County Kilkenny. Green Party councillor Jody Power will be tabling a motion about it next month.
We simply cannot wait any longer for this development. This motion attempts to address the centuries-old restrictions on the natural and cohesive development of Waterford City and by extension the whole South East region. A cursory glance at any map of our city amply demonstrates the bountiful growth on the south side and the dearth of any significant urban development over the centuries on the north side.
Joe Kelly is sponsoring the motion. He told Damien Tiernan the issue was worth revisiting.
The decision was taken as a political decision because, as you know, Damien, there was a huge amount of submissions, objections from mainly residents in the Kilkenny area that would be affected. And I think an awful lot of those, and it's actually said in the report, I was just reading a section of it, huge amount of them related to what was considered a loss of identity, or, we are, say, Kilkenny people, and so on and so on.
An injunction has been granted by the High Court preventing the Home Savers retail chain from operating 3 stores in County Waterford. The local authority sought the injunction, claiming the chain is operating the stores without planning permission. Home Savers have premises on the Cork Road in the city, Riverstown Business Park in Tramore and Westgate Business Park in Dungarvan. The council says the city premises, which is already operating, only has planning permission for a retail warehousing premise, which sells large, bulky household items. The other 2, which are expected to open soon, also don't have permission to operate as a retail shop selling small household goods. The High Court judge granted the injunction over what appeared to be a substantial breach of the planning permissions. Adequate funding for the Technical University for the South East is critical, the Minister for Higher Education was told yesterday. Waterford TD Mark O'Cahasig said the TUSC project had received a much smaller proportion of the funding that's been given to other TU projects. The Green Party deputy told Minister Harris the region was not competing on a level playing pitch.
As a region, the South East accounts for 8.9% of the population, but only 5% of the higher education income. Of our young people who enter higher education, 59% of them leave the region in order to do so. That's in or around 11,000 students per annum. This equates to a huge wealth transfer out of the South East, but far more damaging is the loss of our young people. And we see a pronounced demographics donut in the region, characterised by a missing generation of 19 to 45-year-olds.
Christmas lights have been turned on in Waterford City. Noah O'Sullivan, his family, Santa and the Mayor performed the honours at a small socially distanced event in John Roberts Square last night. In October of last year, Noah underwent life-changing surgery in the United States to enable him to walk unaided. Debbie O'Sullivan, Noah's mother, said it was lovely to be involved.
Total surprise to us and such an honour for Noah to be asked. I think it's especially nice for Noah because he's always loved lights. Every Christmas he gets fairy lights and we can't get them out of his hands until about October every year. So he's just a little light man, so it's very fitting that he was actually asked.
And Santa wished everyone a Merry Christmas.
Maybe, if you're very good, we'll bring you exactly what you want for Christmas. It's very difficult to get everything sorted this year, but we'll do our best. And I'm sure everybody will enjoy it, even if you do burn the turkey. Merry Christmas here from Waterford, and I will see you all very, very soon.
WLR Sport.
With Virgin Media, George's Street, Waterford. 1 gig broadband from Virgin Media. The fastest just got faster.
A very good afternoon for the sports desk. I'm Nigel Kelly. We'll start with soccer, where the Republic of Ireland boss Stephen Kenny will meet FAI interim CEO Gary Owens this afternoon to discuss a video shown to the team before their game at England last week. An internal inquiry has been launched into what's been described as a political video. It's understood to contain goals scored against England as well as historical clips, including the Easter Rising of 1916. The FAI say their investigation is being treated as a matter of urgency. While in the Premier League, Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta says they're having to protect Thomas Partey from himself because he's desperate to play through the pain barrier. The midfielder will miss Sunday's Premier League game with Leeds with a thigh injury picked up during their defeat to Aston Villa. Arteta says it's a blow, but Partey won't be out for long.
He picked an injury very early in the game. He tried to carry on. He wanted to continue the second half, and we knew it was a significant injury. He's done really well. He's working very hard. He wants to be available, but it's an area that we have to be careful and a bit protective with the player.
The Spaniard is also going to be missing Mohamed Al-Neni and Siad Kolasinac, as both tested positive for COVID-19 while on international duty. Elsewhere, Man City's Aymeric Laporte thinks it's great that Pep Guardiola is staying on as manager. The Spaniard has signed a new 2-year deal to extend his reign at the Etihad until 2023. Laporte told Sky Sports News that Guardiola gets the best out of the players.
He's unique as well because, I don't know, he helps each player as he can, because he gives everything he can to all of us, and that is special for us.
While the Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has confirmed that Jordan Henderson and Trent Alexander-Arnold will miss their Premier League clash with Leicester on Sunday. Alexander-Arnold is still recovering from a calf tissue issue, while Henderson remains sidelined with a hamstring injury, but Fabinho and Thiago could feature against the Foxes. Moving back to home, our semi-final places are up for grabs in the FAI Cup this evening. The holders Shamrock Rovers make the trip to Finn Harps for a 5:30 kick-off, while Athlone Town await the winners of the 7:45 meeting of Bohemians and Dundalk. Moving to rugby, where James Ryan will lead an Ireland captain's run for the first time today. England head coach Eddie Jones has fired his usual grenade in the build-up, referring to Ireland as the United Nations. Former Irish international Alan Quinlan is taking it all with a pinch of salt.
Look, he's always stirring it up, Eddie Jones. Is he really concerned about Irish players not getting picked over players who've come here and qualified through residency? Not in the slightest is he concerned about them. Was he concerned about Ben Spencer or Danny Kerr last year when he selected Willie Hines, a New Zealand-born player who qualified through residency, and he picked him in the England World Cup squad? Was he bothered or worried about Danny Kerr or Ben Spencer? Does he have an issue with that? Not in the slightest.
While Scotland's game with Fiji in the Autumn Nations Cup on Saturday has been cancelled. It's due to an outbreak of coronavirus in the Fijian camp that's already caused their last two fixtures in the competition against France and Italy to be called off. Scotland are likely to be awarded a 28-0 win and a bonus point in line with tournament rules. While in racing, champion trainer Willie Mullins has been handed a 2-week racecourse ban due to COVID-19 protocol breach by his staff. They attended a meeting at Aintree on November 7th and were at Punchestown a week later when they should have been self-isolating. Mullins said it was a complete oversight by their team, which shouldn't have happened. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford. WLR asks you to double your efforts to reduce the spread of COVID-19 in Waterford.